Hi, this is Joseph Williams, son of John Williams, and you are watching the Nerf Herder Council.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. I am your host, JT. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. And if you would like to get some customizable Nerf Herder Council swag, just go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. We are live at these three locations every other Wednesday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And every once in a while, we like to jump on Fridays for our WTF Fridays, one of which will be coming up in a couple weeks on Friday, February 11th at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be doing a season recap of the Book of Boba Fett. We may have a special guest host on with us, so make sure to tune in for that. Without further ado, let me bring in my esteemed co-hosts, AJ and Steve. What is going on, guys?
What is?
Hey, what's up?
Not too much. So there we go. Book of Boba Fett. Obviously tonight that is not our topic, but can we just have like a little 10-second freak out for that episode 6 that dropped today? It's like, holy crap! Like, wow.
Yeah,
that was a little awesome.
I gotta go. I haven't seen it.
There will be no spoilers here, Steve. There will be no spoilers here. So yeah, but for anybody who is like doubting how good the Book of Boba Fett is, I'm starting to doubt your credibility, because this show, I've loved it, and I get what some episodes people don't like it, but these last 2 episodes have been absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Like, quick 20-second
yeah. We weren't even supposed to be talking about it last Friday, and AJ and I mentioned it like 3 times because it was like, yeah, can't. I even caught myself at one point. I was like, I know we're not supposed to be talking about it, but
Yep. So, quick 20-second recap. What did you guys think of episode 6?
Still haven't seen it.
There you go. I knew
Seriously?
what yours was going to be. Yeah.
dude, I thought you were spoiling it in the text thread, and you didn't actually know what you were talking about. Oh
No,
boy,
I had it spoiled for me, but I haven't seen it yet because I don't have time to watch it.
Okay,
Oh my God.
I'll give my short version. The series is all over the place, but the places it's going are awesome.
Yes, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Hey, it's our buddy Craig from Canada. He's chiming in. He says, "The Book of Boba Fett episode 6, titled From the Desert Comes the Stranger, is equal to the Rogue One and episodes 4 through 6 of the original trilogy. That was absolutely marvelous and true love shown to true Star Wars fans from across the galaxy. Dave Filoni, I salute you. Don't mind me. Going to go watch it all over again." Yeah, it's. I mean, if you're a fan of that kind of stuff, man, the more like gritty, fan servicey type of thing, this is definitely for you. So, yeah, we'll save that for our WTF Friday, which again, as I teased earlier, will be Friday, February 11th at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're gonna do our Boba Fett season recap. So we'll get into it at that point. But for tonight, we wanted to have our first ever episode that is completely off topic from Star Wars. And,
Well, we already missed that then.
well, that was just a little teaser. But, yeah, I kind of wanted to jump in since we never really talked Marvel. I know, obviously, there's a lot of newer stuff going on. But we've never really gotten to talk about what we consider to be the best Marvel movie that they've done so far. And it raised an interesting question to me, because when we were discussing the Star Wars movies and saying, okay, what's our favorite, what's the best, whatever. For me, I have a favorite and a best.
Agreed. I was actually gonna say that tonight too.
Yeah, it's hard. But I think for me, I have a hard time separating the two. So I think my answer might be the same. So So Steve, you already said you basically had the same thing. Like, you have a best and a favorite. And where do you stand, AJ? Did you have just one singular movie, or do you have a favorite and a best?
I guess I should have prepared for this, huh? My favorite's easy. I just don't know if it's the best. No, they're different. Okay. I've settled on it.
Okay. Well, it's definitely going to be an interesting conversation because I don't think any of us have the same answer. I'm almost
Probably not.
positive nobody's got my answer. And again, mine is both, and so we'll just see where the conversation goes. I'll start it out. I'm just going to say that my favorite and the best one to me, I could tell from my background, it's one of the Cap movies. I absolutely love Captain America 1, the first Avenger. I'm a huge World War II buff. I love period pieces, and Captain
Wow.
America has always been, I'm not like a huge comic book guy, so I can't say, oh, I read all these issues and stuff like that. But, as a casual fan of, actual comics, Captain America always grabbed me the most. And so to see him live on screen and especially getting this amazing like World War II based backstory, for me it was just amazing. And the reason I think it's the best movie is because it sets up what the Avengers stand for so well. I think in that first, he is the first Avenger, and all of the the morals and the standards that the Avengers want to hold themselves to are right there in Captain America. So I think it's the best one too because it sets up everything to come. So, AJ, favorite Marvel movie?
Okay. Favorite, hands down, Thor Ragnarok.
Wow, no
That
kidding,
thing
I didn't
was
know
such, such a breath of fresh air. You can rewatch it endlessly. It's funny. It's got great action. The character evolution is good. It's the one that if it's like Rogue One or Solo, where if you're just looking for an easy thing to sit down to in Star Wars, this is the Marvel equivalent where like it's always a good time and you don't need to worry about what comes before or after to understand it enough to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, especially because it came kind of out of nowhere especially after Thor 2, it was like I was expecting nothing and I got the best experience ever. So, it's definitely the one that I've seen the most times.
Yeah, Thor Dark World is definitely one of the letdowns, I think. There's
Bottom 5.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's only a few of them, and I definitely would have to say that Dark World is definitely up there. Weaver is tuning in. What's up, man? It's good to see you. It's been a while. Good to see you, man. And our buddy John Godfrey, DQ. What is going on?
So I'm going to try a quick camera fix here.
Oh man, spoiler alerts. I love Happy.
Okay.
So his favorite character is Happy Hogan. There you go. That makes
Boy,
sense.
Happy
All right.
Hogan can write some Star Wars, can't he?
Yeah, a little bit.
Very true.
All right, so Steve, favorite Marvel movie?
I'll go with best one first because it's not my favorite, but I do think it's the best one that they did. Winter Soldier, I think, is actually the best MCU movie. Obviously, personal level. Favorite, just because it's my boy, Iron Man.
Oh, the first one ever. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Dude, always, forever a Tony Stark guy. Even when you take the suit away, what do you got? Playboy philanthropist,
Yeah.
Billionaire.
billionaire Playboy
philanthropist.
philanthropist.
Yeah.
He's like, take away the serum. What do you got?
Yep. Man.
Yeah. So Tony was always my guy, and Iron Man 2 was meh. Iron Man 3 was meh, but the first one, like AJ, you mentioned things that you can watch over and over again. Like the ones I can always go back to are Iron Man and all the Avengers. Like those would always be my first ones, and then I'd probably go through the Captain America stuff after that, honestly. But yeah, always been a Tony Stark guy.
So what is it about Winter Soldier that makes it the best for you? Besides the fact that a lot of it's filmed right here in Cleveland, and we can look at a lot of the scenery and go, oh, that's the Justice Building.
Yeah,
oh, no,
right.
that's the Shoreway.
Yeah.
Actually, little known thing to add into it, and it's a crazy story. When I got married, 2014, I downloaded some movies on the iPad to watch back and forth on the plane from Los Angeles on our honeymoon.
Okay.
Just happened to be watching Avengers 1 on the way home, and it got to the scene where Loki and then we're in the little party or whatever they had at the beginning when he first like started
Oh,
sticking
yeah,
people
in-
with the staff and stuff.
In Germany. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And as he was going down the steps down to the party, I started freaking out because I recognized the background, and there was a stained glass window behind him on those stairs that he was coming down. And I started freaking out on the airplane because I'm like, Gwen, we literally took our wedding photos in front of that stained glass window like 4 days before I noticed that. Like, I knew they filmed some of Avengers in Cleveland, but like I never put all of that together. Like, I never noticed it before, and I was like, holy shit. Like you add to the nerdiness of our relationship and our marriage and the way we did a Lego Halloween party for a wedding reception, and I'm like, we literally took our wedding photos in a set for Avengers. like how can you beat this?
That's
Right?
awesome.
But I think Winter Soldier, between the fact that it's continuing Cap's story, broadens Black Widow's, introduces Bucky, like it does all of this that should have been a mess of a movie, and because there's so much like major storyline going on that and they do it so well. Like, it's crazy how good they did Winter Soldier with all of that. Like I said, it should have been a jumbled mess, and it was the furthest thing from it.
Yeah. John Godfrey DQ, he says 2 sets up so much though. He's not wrong. Like you just
Right.
said, man, it definitely does that. Sorry to cut you off, AJ. What were you going to say?
Yeah, the other thing that I think was really well done about Winter Soldier was it established the pattern of like the first Captain America is a standalone, obviously, but the second and third ones are just they're Avengers interstitials.
Yeah.
I mean, Civil War is just crammed with everybody, and Winter Soldier starts that.
Winter Soldier, Civil War are like Avengers Light.
Yeah. Yeah, Civil War's always kind of been like Avengers 2.5.
Yeah, exactly.
That airport fight was kind of like, okay, I see what you're doing here.
Yep. And the only reason I look down on Civil War is because I left my boy wrong at the end of the movie. I will say, it took Cap and Bucky both to take him down, though, okay? So, I mean, it's...
Well,
You know what's weird though? Like, everyone points to Iron Man as like the big success of the MCU, right? Like, a B-level character came out of nowhere, made this amazing movie that set up the entire franchise, really. But like you said, Steve, Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3,
Yeah.
like he had one good solo outing, and then everything else was done in like an ensemble picture. Like, he couldn't carry his own movie after that, or if he could, like they just didn't write a good one for him.
It seems
It's
that
so
way.
weird because he's like the icon of the MCU, and he only had like one good solo movie.
Yeah.
see, I'm going to disagree with that. I mean, the third one was, yeah. I did not like the whole swerve of the Mandalorian. I was watching it today.
Goddamn Star Wars keeps finding its way in.
No, I didn't like the swerve of the Mandarin.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool when it was, Ben Kingsley and, kind of like the terror cell type of thing. But I really, really like Iron Man 2. I think it is just a kick-ass movie. When it came out, I loved it. I
Really?
still love it, and I don't understand why people shit on it. I mean, Whiplash, that those awesome, like, that weapon of his is great. The electrified whips are cool. Like, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. And
I really like all the Iron Man movies, but like, if you're going to rank them, I think it still goes 1, 2, 3. Like, 1's the best, 2,
Yeah.
and then 3. It's that weirdness with the Mandarin that kind of throws the third one all for a loop. Even though Ben Kingsley was amazing in Shang-Chi.
yeah, right.
Like, dude, his character was so good in that movie.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
hot take. I
Okay.
like Iron Man better at the start of the MCU because like his technology was at least like close to reality. Like, it was semi-grounded, and like it just got farther and farther away from that, where it was just like, okay, you're in a CGI suit. Like, this is so far away from any real science that like, oh, you got nanobots and they just replicate themselves, and you can breathe in space and make phone calls while you're on an alien spaceship. And all right, whatever. Like
I
I like the OG Iron Man where you see like it's a plate of metal, it goes on his chest, and that's why he can't be hurt. Simple.
I can understand that because I mean,
Right.
I'm the one who's on record as saying like movies like Pacific Rim are just dumb because it's like, okay, well these monsters and these giant like robo suits would just like destroy everything and nothing would be left. It's like it's just at some point it's too much. And so
Yeah.
I can understand. For me personally, I'm like it's a comic book come to life, so I'm not surprised by it. But I can definitely appreciate where you're coming from
Right.
on it. Weaver says, my favorite is Infinity War. I know the plot is slow due to there being so many characters, but I can get through it without getting bored once. And there's so many amazing moments in it. And
Right.
Cale
Yeah.
McLeish, my Dream Theater buddy Cale McLeish says, Whiplash was massively underserved in my opinion. He's got a good action scene at the race, and then he's just, I want my Boyd guy.
Yeah.
I want my
Dude,
Boyd.
that accent was so bad.
But it's so great, though.
When Hammer was like, "Oh, you want take his boot, take his shoes, take his
Yeah.
shoes. You like it when I take your stuff? Take his
Yep.
bird, take his shoes."
Yeah, I see. That's what I'm saying.
I am
like,
waiting for Hammer to come back. Hammer needs to make a
Yeah.
return in the MCU.
Well, it's
Yeah.
there. I mean, he's there to do it. I mean, and, I mean, to your point about realism, AJ, I think that's one of the reasons why I like the first Avenger so much because it is like, I mean, Super Soldier Serum isn't real, obviously, but there really wasn't anything but the Hydra technology, with the Tesseract. So you buy into that. That's a thing. Other than
Yeah.
that, it's
We do know aliens did side with the Nazis, so at least that part's accurate.
yeah.
Right.
All right.
And honestly, like as an Iron Man guy, like it's always been like Tony versus Steve Rogers,
Yeah.
in the fandom and stuff. So
Yep.
like naturally, I've had done my my amount of shitting on Steve Rogers and stuff. But like to what Weaver said, Infinity War, the scene where they're at that station and Thanos's lackeys are attacking Vision and Wanda, and where Black Widow and Cap show up. Like, dude, that is like that's one of those scenes that you can watch it, rewind it, watch just the scene again. That one was shot so well.
As soon as you see Cap come out with a beard, some ass kicking's going down.
Right?
He's got the beard. It's on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's when Steve gives no fucks.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. The first time I saw Captain America in the theater, I saw it at a midnight movie with my incredible buddy Pat I played with in Gatlin, and he just loves all the comic book stuff, but he's a big Captain America guy too. And we both were like, "Oh my god, that is absolutely perfect." And it was weird because Steve, to your point, the first Iron Man movie was absolutely unbelievable, and then Incredible Hulk was pretty much the dumper of the whole MCU, I think.
Yeah. We could touch on that later because like you already brought up like a bottom 5, and I'm looking at all the movies on my monitor right now, and I'm like, yeah, I could start to line this up from the bottom too.
All right. That'll be another episode, our bottom 5 Marvel movies. But yeah, I mean, so it's like, I was wondering like, okay, what are we gonna get here? Like, because you had pretty good quality with the Marvel movies up to that point, but you're like, okay, are we gonna get another Incredible Hulk? Are they gonna? And man, the first Avenger just resonated with me so much. I love the story, I love the build of it, and it's probably stupid, and this is probably a little cheesy, but I just love he's such a good guy. Like, because you have good guys in movies and stuff, but they're always, they might have that little bit of to them, and Steve Rogers never does. He's just always the good guy, and it's like, for some reason, I like that. And I, every time I watch it, I get the same feeling. I'm like, this movie is awesome.
I do again, as a guy that shit on Steve Rogers, I love the progression of his character where it's like you see him at the beginning of how he is like the perfect soldier in the first Avenger, and then in Winter Soldier he's yelling at the guys over the radio because they're saying bad words and stuff like that. But then you get towards Infinity War and Endgame, and the Steve Rogers that's there is just like, yeah, I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
Like the actual, like, because everybody else, Thor is always Thor. Tony's always Tony. Like Spider-Man, they're all who they are. Cap is the only one that had like this progression. I mean, I guess Tony did, because they did have that remark in Avengers of how he's never going to be the guy that will jump on a grenade for the group, and then ultimately he's the guy that jumps on the grenade to save the world. So I guess Tony does have progression, but like he always acted like an ass the whole time, where Steve just had this like gradual progression from a guy that wouldn't say a bad word to, like just being a guy that didn't give a rat's ass by the end of Endgame.
Yeah.
See, I got to disagree though, because I think the brilliance of all of this original lineup of the Avengers cast was that Tony and Cap started on opposite sides, and then they actually crossed over and became on the other side as they both changed their opinions. Like, remember, Tony was the first one who said, like, "Hey, U.S. government, you can't have my stuff. Like, it's safest in my hands. That's it. I know better than anybody." And then by the time of Civil War, he's like, "No, we need reined in. Like, we need oversight." And Cap is like, "No, we don't."
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I love that they ended up on opposite sides, crisscrossing in the middle, and that was what Civil War was all about. Was like, Cap is arguing Tony's point, and Tony is arguing Cap's point, and like that's what made that fight so great. Because I'm like, wait a minute,
yeah, because even like the beginning of Endgame, after they saved Tony and Nebula, like the first thing he did was like get in Cap's face and be like, "I told you we needed that. We needed a fucking suit around the Earth, and you didn't want to do it."
Yep. Man, it's good that
he is the first one to say "I told you so," which I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a couple fans of Civil War in here. Kale McLeish says Civil War to me is the plot that makes the most sense. They have tension for all the right reasons. And our good buddy Joseph Wren, Discuss Metal Joe, good to see you, man. He says Civil War is the best movie. I will disagree with both of you. I like Civil War because it's a Cap movie. The plot making the most sense, I would disagree with. It was a little confusing to a point.
I had a hard time following it, yeah.
I got it at the end when it all tied together, but it was just kind of like a weak villain. It was just some guy that was pissed off, like, I'm going to pit him again. Like, the concept's good, but it's like you can't go from, Whiplash and, Crossbones and, the Winter Soldier and stuff like that, and then go, okay, well, here's just some Russian dude who's pissed off. Like, what is that?
Yeah, I mean, Zemo got his redemption in the Disney Plus series in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I felt like he was completely unnecessary in Civil War.
Yeah.
The spotlight was Tony versus Cap. It was the fact that there was a villain in there. It's like, why? Like, we've got so much crap in here. We've already introduced Black Panther. We've had like 13 heroes fighting each other, and then here's Baron Zemo over here fighting for the spotlight. Like, why?
I mean, I get it. They needed someone to like further the plot and like actually show him like, hey, look, here's Bucky killing Tony's parents, and I get that, but it's like they could have done it another way. I think it was just kind of okay. I mean, they had enough there to further.
Civil War is the debut, of Black Panther and Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's
it was
enough.
that. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like I like it a lot because anytime I get Captain America, I'm happy. But yeah, it wasn't as good as the other two for sure.
Right.
In my opinion. The one thing that was cool about it though, like Steve, like you're a Tony Stark guy. So is my wife. And so when they announced the movie and I realized what it was going to be about, I was like, oh, it's me against my wife. So we went into it wondering who's going to kick whose ass.
Right.
And like debating it. She's like, Iron Man. I'm like, no, Cap. I'm like, no.
Dude, I feel you on
good.
that. We're going back to 2003 when Freddy versus Jason came out. It felt like going to a fucking football game going into the theater.
Right. Man, that'd be a good episode discussing that movie.
I say for you, Steve, I would think that would be like, Archie Manning watching Peyton and Eli face off. Like, how do you pick a favorite?
Pretty much.
Well, I only have one autographed glove up in a case in my living room, so.
And it's O.J. Simpson's.
There you go. All right, so
Shh.
yeah, that's so bad. I just caught it. So Weaver says a critique of
It's
Iron
a
Man's
golf
character.
glove, JT. Come on.
Hey, I'm not getting into that, okay? A critique, Weaver says, a critique of Iron Man's character arc. In Iron Man 3, he destroys all his suits, and then in Age of Ultron, he creates the Iron Legion. It's like Iron Man 3 never happened.
Yeah.
Maybe he just decided, like, I probably shouldn't have done that. Let's just build a crap load more suits.
Yeah. The
probably-
That
house
is the thing, yeah.
The house gets destroyed. He finds the little screwdriver at the end of the movie, and he's like, I don't have an arc reactor in my chest anymore. I don't need this. I love you, Pepper. And then we got what? Dark World, Winter Soldier, 2 Guardians movies, and then all of a sudden there's a million Iron Mans again.
Right.
Man, Dark World.
Yeah, all the gravitas of the finale of that Iron Man 3 just like went right out the window. As soon as they got Downey Jr. back again, they're like, Tony's going to build some more suits, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like a lot more suits.
All right, so Joseph Friend says, Civil War has internal conflict within the Avengers and has nothing to do with outer space. Baron was your bad guy with a middle finger to the hero, and that's it. No matter how it ends, no one wins. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, Joe. I mean, that's a good point. I just think that Baron was pointless. It's like some guy, like it's just some guy. It wasn't. It was very anticlimactic.
It's
Especially
weird. I always play like this weird middle ground with everybody, and I kind of agree with both of you because he's right, but at the same point, I feel like you're right, John, because that's why they gave him this whole character arc to work off of in the Disney Plus series. It's almost like, hey, this guy was kind of worthless in the movie, so let's give him a backstory to work with to, make him a likable character or something.
Yeah.
Doesn't that seem like what they're doing with a lot of the Marvel Disney Plus series? Is like they're taking the underserved characters and giving them a better spotlight. Like the fact that Wanda and Vision hooked up, that was kind of like out of nowhere. It just happened in Infinity War. We're like, oh, they're a thing now. Okay. And then they got their own Disney Plus series all about that. So,
Right.
And then Baron Zemo gets, all of his spotlight in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, it
and
is.
other characters too, like General Ross and all that sort of stuff. Like they're pulling from like Incredible Hulk and all the other parts that get overlooked in the movies to like make these series. I love that part.
Yeah.
So like no matter how inconsequential something seems in a movie, there's a chance they're going to pull that plot thread later.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, there's almost no backstory. Well, up to WandaVision, there's no backstory on Wanda, but you watch Infinity War and you're like, hey, she almost killed Thanos by her damn self. Like, why is this character not getting any attention?
All right, so Kale McLeish has a very good question, and I brought up the list of characters so we can do this. He asks,
Good, thank you.
who has the better lineup on their team in Civil War for you guys? Team Cap is Falcon, the Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, and Ant-Man, and Team Iron Man is War Machine, Vision, Black Panther, and Spider-Man. Wow, that.
I'm going
Okay.
Team Tony.
Okay.
Team Tony is OP.
Okay. What's your reasoning?
Vision is a beast right there.
So are you
Spider-Man
saying
is incredibly resourceful.
So are you saying cooler or more like makes a better team because of the powers they have?
Yeah, in terms of raw power, like if you got Vision, then you're going to be in the top like third of the cast right there.
Okay. I'll give you that.
Spider-Man's out of nowhere, so no one knows how to fight him. Tony's got gadgets galore. So yeah, I think
Black Panther's got the vibranium suit.
but if you're losing if you got Hawkeye on your team. I mean, the guy's got a bow and arrow. That is a bow and arrow to a superpowered gunfight.
If I can trade Hawkeye
He's
in a
just
first
a guy. He has
if I
no
could-
powers.
if I could trade Hawkeye and a first round pick for Wanda, like that's a dynasty right there, dude. Like Tony's team is a dynasty at that point if you give him Wanda.
Yeah, you know what? Wait a minute. They didn't list where. Okay. Scarlet Witch. Never mind. For a second I thought they missed Wanda. Yeah, it really is kind of. It is kind of skewed because if you look at Team Cap, it's like you've got Scarlet Witch is the answer to Vision, obviously,
right?
But then you got guy who can turn small, bow and arrow guy, almost as strong as Captain America guy, and guy who flies. Whereas with Team Iron Man, you've got Spider-Man, like I say, he's got all these crazy powers. Black Panther has vibranium, you can't hit him. Basically a second Iron Man.
Right.
War Machine, and then you got Vision. So it does seem a little skewed, I suppose.
The movies did not do Vision justice. Like, did you guys watch all of the What If shows?
I have not.
I'm all caught up. Yeah.
There is an episode where, there's like 2 or 3 episodes where Ultron doesn't die, and he takes over Vision. So he's like this weird Vision / Ultron thing, and he's basically destroyed everything, John. Nothing exists anymore. He's by himself and he's bored. And you see a portal open up behind him, and Thanos comes out, and he's got all the stones except for the Mind Stone. And the guy just literally makes a fist, and Vision / Ultron turns around, looks at him like he ain't shit, and just laser beams him from the crotch up through his head and kills him in like half a second. And it's like, dude, you guys could have did this in the movies. Like you did Vision such a disservice. Like this guy could just wipe out Thanos like that with the gauntlet with 4 stones in it. No problem. And he turns back around and is bored again. But you go back to Infinity War, and he's struggling with Thanos' lackeys, and needs Cap and Black Widow to save his ass and stuff. Like, come on, man, do the guy justice.
Hey, look,
well,
man.
Vision has a conscience, whereas Ultron doesn't. So,
if
Ultron actually got the body that was being made for him, that's what If answers. It's what would happen if he actually got the body instead of the Vision. And
Joseph Wren. When Charlie Cox makes a Daredevil movie, that is the best movie.
Yes. yes, and more yes.
You gotta admit, that's a very, very underrated series. I mean, I don't even know if they consider it to be MCU yet with the air quotes. But, dude, that was such a good series to watch.
I never got through it. I'm going to have to try to get through that. It was a little slow for me at the beginning. It's kind of
slow, yeah. And then you are going to think back to watching Hawkeye, and you're going to be like, damn, Charlie struggled with Kingpin for 2 whole seasons, and friggin' what's-her-name and Hawkeye whooped his ass in like 37 seconds inside that toy store. So,
yeah.
like, wait a minute, who's the weaker character here?
JT, you have got to watch that series. I mean, you're still the one who's playing the apologist for the Ben Affleck movie.
I was just gonna say, at some point there's gonna be an episode about how I love the Eric Bana Hulk movie and the Ben Affleck Daredevil, dude. Okay, we'll do that on another show. But real quick, I like the original version of the Daredevil movie, but they have this like director's cut it adds 30 minutes to it, and it makes all the stuff that didn't make sense in the original cut. It makes it's like all the stuff that makes it make sense is what they took out. I'm like, who the hell cut this movie? So
this feels like a good watch party for a Friday. Like we should watch that Daredevil movie again, and I want you to see it with fresh eyes. I got to see it with fresh eyes. I haven't seen it in forever.
I have not seen it in forever. I do remember like I liked it, but it wasn't something that I was going to go back to and watch a million times though. Like it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great.
I loved it. I will absolutely see. Joseph Friend's got my back. He says Affleck was the bomb in Daredevil.
No, Affleck was the shit in Phantoms, yo.
Kale McLeish, he says Daredevil and Elektra, and to a lesser extent the first Fantastic Four movie, have some pretty decent soundtracks to them, so he must not be a fan of the movies. I actually never saw Elektra. I heard it was so bad that I actually skipped it.
I don't recall seeing Elektra either.
Yeah, all right, so AJ, you gave your favorite Marvel movie being Thor Ragnarok. You did not give your best Marvel movie. So what would you
Best
consider
is
the
going to
best?
be Infinity War.
Okay.
That
Man, no
movie
love
was
for
just-
Endgame
I mean,
from anybody.
I mean,
You know
that's
what?
the thing. Like that's peak Marvel to me. I got Thor Ragnarok and then followed it up with Infinity War. I mean,
Yeah.
those 2 chapters in the saga are just amazing.
I definitely like, and again, I make no goddamn sense when I talk about these things. I'm a Tony guy, but I actually like Endgame more than Infinity War.
Wow.
You would
Okay.
think watching Tony die would throw that towards the bottom of my list, but I still like that better than Infinity War.
You act like I did that with Episode 7 in Han Solo.
I'm sure that's a small percent of it.
Yeah, I'm
No,
not gonna
Infinity
lie.
War was like it seemed like an impossible movie to make. You know, to get
Yeah.
all those characters and give them all like appropriate screen time.
Yep.
It was just I didn't know how they were going to pull it off, and yet it didn't feel like anyone got shortchanged. Really, like the screen time was balanced. The story was actually coherent, which with that many characters and things going on could have easily been a train wreck.
Yeah.
So, and it was up in the comments earlier. I forget who said it, but he said like never bored.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like
Weaver.
it didn't drag, even though it was
Weaver.
what like 2.5 hours or something.
Yep.
It was a long movie, but
Yeah.
credits rolled, and I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
There's parts, like there's scenes that you could pull apart. Like, as corny as it was, the Avengers Assemble scene from Endgame, like I don't think there's ever a point in time that I can't watch that part. In between the way it was acted out, the soundtrack behind it at the time and everything, that it's just like it gives you those little goosebumps no matter how many times you see that scene. The Avengers Assemble scene, when he picks up that damn hammer and you hear on your left, it like that whole like 45 seconds that absolutely wraps up 20 movies of the MCU. It's just like, dude, that's it right there. That's the best scene in any movie ever.
Yeah. Yeah, AJ, going back to something that you said, I think you just kind of nailed it, actually. When you said that, Infinity War seemed like an impossible movie to make because of all the characters and how you're going to give them equal screen time and have it balanced, have the story make sense. So I think that's an excellent point, and that's probably, why people would rank it above Endgame. Endgame is absolutely amazing, but Endgame, like, you knew it could be done. It wasn't
Right.
surprising to see all this stuff. Like, Endgame has Fat Thor, which is maybe the greatest thing they ever did.
Oh God, yeah.
But,
Fat Thor is
I mean-
amazing, dude.
Speaking of Fat Thor, can we please have Taika Waititi just do a Korg movie? Like, I just want Korg walk. I don't care what he does. That character, like, in Ragnarok, is like, piss off, Ghost. It's like, Thor, that dickhead's back again. Noob 69, that dickhead's back again. Like,
Dude,
that
did
New
you see-
Zealand accent and
Did you see the short little thing he did with Ryan Reynolds
Yes.
hyping up Free Guy?
Yep.
It was Free Guy, right?
Yeah, Free Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
oh my god.
Deadpool and him like reviewing or doing like a trailer reaction or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Now that
Korg
his
is the best.
Now that his name has been mentioned, even though he's not in the MCU as of yet, can we give an honorable mention to Deadpool in these movies? Oh my god,
Dude, that's gonna be a whole nother episode. Dude, the Deadpool movies are cinematic perfection.
Dude, they really are.
Oh my god, those are good. That's like the perfect example of a sequel where it's like you go into be like, please be at least close to what the other one was, and it's like as good if not better.
Yeah. There's like you can see Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, and you can see Chris Evans as Steve Rogers. Ryan Reynolds was made to be Wade Wilson.
Yeah.
I cannot picture anybody else that would have done that role any kind of damn justice the way
no.
he did that.
No.
Like you could probably pull a handful of guys and say, I can see him as Tony Stark and him as Cap and him as Thor, but can you really pull anybody out of your ass and say, yeah, that guy's Deadpool? No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, the closest you would ever get would be like Paul Rudd, but he does not have. He's more like the nice guy, smartass, whereas Ryan Reynolds just has that cutting edge to him.
He's the dick smartass, where Paul Rudd is the like Paul Rudd is perfect for Ant-Man. Like he toes that line of like an idiot and a smartass and stuff, where like just he never would have been able to pull what Ryan Reynolds did with Deadpool. Just not a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, good point on that, AJ. I never thought of it that way, but that's an excellent way to phrase it. Like, you know, and because honestly, like as soon as you said it, I kind of remembered that I had that thought going into it. I was like, how are they going to do this with like 8,000 characters that you give a crap about all of them? Like, how are they going to balance this? And then you have to introduce Thanos in like a full-time, you know, a full-time character thing. He's like, I mean, how are they going to pull this off?
And they found a perfect way to connect you to everybody. Like, I don't know a single soul that wasn't pissed off that a Star-Lord fucked up the whole thing with Thanos.
Yeah.
Like, everybody walked out of the theater madder than hell at Star-Lord after that movie came out.
Yeah.
Like, we always have conversations after we leave the theater in Star Wars movies, and I remember leaving after Infinity War, and I want to say, I don't remember if that was the night I went to eat and I got in a big-ass text thread with you, John, because I just ran out of the movie and started. That could have been Endgame, but I don't remember. But I just remember people walking out of Infinity War so angry. Like, so angry that Star-Lord fucked all that up.
Yeah. And I had a lot of people with that reaction, too, and I'm going, well, you know there's another movie, moron. Like,
right? Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen? They're going to win, and the next movie is just a 3-hour post-credits scene?
Like,
Like, what did you think you were getting?
See, I'm on the team of that Doctor Strange fucked it up, okay? Because at the beginning of Infinity War, one of the lackeys, I keep using that term, he went to like put when they were fighting in the street with Doctor Strange and Tony and Hulk wouldn't turn into Hulk and everything. He opens one of those portals and cuts the guy's arm off. And I'm like, you know how easy you could have just cut off Thanos' arm with the damn gauntlet on it and just been done with this thing?
Yeah.
Like when Wanda was hanging on his head and had him all fucked up and they were trying to pull the glove off, just open the damn portal, wrap it around his head, close it, cut it off at the elbow. Everybody goes home happy. So I'm not blaming Star-Lord for that.
Look at you poking plot holes into a comic book movie. You're turning into that guy.
That's the one. Yeah,
like,
that's you're always going to lose that fight, Steve. The one conceit of any superhero movie is that, of course, the hero has to screw up because there's literally every plot device in play with the Infinity Gauntlet. Right. So like.
Joseph Randy says, did you expect them to win? Have you not seen The Empire Strikes Back before? You know how this works, right?
Because we've talked about it like ad nauseum of like things like time travel, and when you have the time stone, it's just like at one point can't you just keep reminding it and going back and fixing all your fuck ups, right? So there's always
how
that.
Doctor Strange fixed his problems in his first movie.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing at that episode of What If. He just keeps going back and replaying the car accident a million times over. Like, I'll drive a different way, or she'll drive, or what? Like, it's...
Yeah,
Good point. Good point. Why didn't Thor cut off his arm with Stormbreaker? Same damn thing.
Yep. Kale McLeish. Why couldn't Thor have cut off the arm with Stormbreaker? Yep.
Why aim for the head? He could have just aimed for the arm.
That is one of the best things about Endgame, though, is, I mean, they go and they find him, and they make short work of the guy because they learned from their mistakes in the previous movie.
I have to admit, when that happened, I was like, well, now what?
Yeah.
I was kind of looking at my watch like, boy, we got a whole lot of time left in this bad movie.
Right.
Like, what's going to happen?
And forgive me for forgetting the guy's name, but in Infinity War, the
Thanos.
guy... Good. The guy that made Stormbreaker. The fact that
Peter
they made,
Dinklage.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, the fact that they made Peter Dinklage like a beyond a gigantic character in the MCU.
I love that the
is
dwarf
hilarious.
was gigantic. Yes.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Why can't we remember the guy's name though? The place was called Nidavellir.
Yeah.
Why can I remember that,
What?
but not Nidavellir was the name of the place, but I don't remember the name of the character.
Eitri?
Sure.
It's
Hammer
E-I-
guy.
Yeah. It's EITRI. It's I forget what the what the pronunciation is, but Eitri, or however you say that. So there you go.
Yeah,
So-
like I just keep thinking of random scenes through the movies. Like there's always those little comedy things, like in Endgame when Cap picks up Stormbreaker and Thor gets the hammer back, and Thor's just like, no, you get the little one.
Yeah.
Takes it,
Yeah.
like, the little shit like that they always find a way to like just pop it right into the movies all at the right time. Everything's supposed to be all serious. It's literally the Battle of New York or whatever, and they're just like, joke's on you, assholes. I'm always angry. Like,
Yeah. Well, even stuff like I say, like in Endgame when they had, Fat Thor, that was hilarious. And then you had like Happy Banner, who's always Hulk.
yeah.
When
Oh yeah, when he goes and gives Ant-Man the tacos outside.
yeah, you get like the happy music. The happy
Yeah.
music as he walks past, just like hands him the tacos, and he's like, what is that? Like,
And Nebula's like, she gets on the radio. There's watch out. There's an idiot in the landing zone.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's. I mean,
Or like they got Hulk in the back of the truck, and it's just dragging its ass down the street. It's
right. Well, and I think that's like one of the things that they did the best was, I mean, that balance. I think we've talked off air a lot about the fact that, I mean, pretty much it got to a point where when one of these movies came out, you knew it wasn't going to be crappy. You just knew it was going to be a good movie.
Yep.
And I mean, there's degrees of, how good they are, obviously, but, I know that I basically went into each one after, I think it was pretty much after, the first Avenger going, okay, well, they done pretty damn good. And then it just stayed high quality. Even
Yep.
the ones that were kind of letdowns, like, we talked about Iron Man 3 and Thor 2 and stuff like that. They still had more than enough moments to be like, okay, this is cool. You never left the theater going, that was a piece of crap.
Exactly.
So
I won't forget it. It was Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know what the hell it was.
Oh,
the
yeah.
previews came out for it and everything, and I just went, there's nothing about this movie that I care about. I don't know why. I don't care. Went to go see it in theaters because it was like, when have they fucked up a movie? They haven't.
Yes.
So I was like, let's just go see the damn thing. And I left the theater and I was just like, I couldn't have been more wrong. Like,
Yeah.
like I felt like I needed to apologize to the movie. I was like,
Well, I mean,
I could not have been more wrong about that.
I mean, do you think this
Take the subway pitch. You're going to watch a raccoon and a living tree go fight.
Yeah. Well, and that,
I mean,
and
it
that's what I
sounds
thought.
terrible.
I mean, do you guys think that the part of the success of that movie? I mean, obviously it was a good movie, but do you think it? Because I do. I know I was probably one of them. Like at that point, I was just giving the benefit of the doubt, and I think a lot of other people were too. Because you see this, and people, I'm like, I don't know who the hell these characters are, but the first trailer was funny. I'm like, okay, it's got humor in it, and I think that was a movie that came out at a perfect time because they were running on such a huge amount of goodwill that people were like, okay, just because it has the Marvel name on it, I'm going to go see it, even though I don't know what the hell
Right.
it is. I don't give a crap about it. I'm still going to go see it. So, I mean, do you guys agree with me on that? Because I really think that was like a really weird choice for them to make that movie, but
It really was, because at that point, it was Captain America, it was Iron Man, it was Hulk, it was Thor, it was all household comic book names. And then you went to Guardians of the Galaxy, and it was like, if you're not really in depth with the comic books. Like, do you really care about this? And I think that was part of the lead up to that, was just like not a lot of people knew who the hell those characters were. So they needed that kick-ass movie to make people know who the hell they were almost.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember what else came out that year. I forget if it was Ant-Man or Spider-Man that came out right before Guardians. But it was like, it was another one where, well, if it was Spider-Man, we knew it was going to be good, but it ended up being great. Homecoming was fantastic. And Ant-Man was a pleasant surprise because that was another character where you're like, how can they possibly make this? How can they make me care about this character? This is like a nothing character. And so when Guardians came out, you're like, all right, well, lightning can't strike this many times in the same place.
Yeah.
No way.
Yep.
Right.
And they just, the hits kept on coming. It was incredible.
Between the soundtrack to that movie and honestly Batista,
Oh my God. Yeah.
dude, I love the end of that movie when he's just like, talk about the rodent. I love you. The green whore. I love you. And they're like, yeah, we get it. We get it.
By the way, AJ, you know what movie came out the same year as Guardians of the Galaxy? It was Winter Soldier.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Can you imagine trying to follow Winter Soldier? And yet it didn't feel like a letdown. It just felt like, adjacent. There was no like direct comparison.
But here's a dumper of a year if we're talking about Marvel stuff. It was the year before, 2013. It was Iron Man 3 and Thor: The Dark World.
Ooh.
I mean, it's not bad, but I mean, it's that's not
right.
compared.
I know what you're saying.
But well, Cam
Especially
McLeish says,
when right before that you had Avengers, and then right after that you had Winter Soldier.
I know, right? So Cam McLeish says, problem is we're beyond that now. Eternals goes into F tier for me. I have not seen it, but I have not heard almost anybody praise that movie.
AJ and I talked about it for about 2 minutes at the end of Friday's show, and I'll say what I said then. I'm glad I watched it because I wanted to know the story.
Okay.
Probably never going to watch it again.
Yeah, you know how JT, we try to stay away from stuff where like you bail on shows like Visions and the Ewok movie stuff because you don't want to just like shit on a film for the entire show.
Yeah.
Like that's what our Eternals review would be.
Pretty much.
It's got like almost no redeeming qualities.
It's that bad, huh?
It's bad. It's bad.
It's bad and it's boring.
Yeah.
It's just
That's what I
boring.
heard, that it's really dialogue-y, and there's not much.
The best redeeming quality about that entire movie is the end credits scene. when you see the guy, and I don't know his real name, the guy that was Jon Snow in Game of Thrones, and he opens the box and the sword is there for the Black Knight, and then you hear a voice, often like an unseen voice, say, "Do you really want to do that?" And everybody, I had no clue who the hell it was, so I looked it up online, and people are like, "Oh, that was Blade," and I'm like, okay, so there's the redeeming quality of the whole movie was 65 seconds of the end of the movie.
The forgotten human character that
and
had
it
no
might
screen
not even
time
be
between
Blade.
the first 5 minutes and the end credits. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that guy opening the box and introducing another character and who might be Blade saying something off camera was the best part of the movie. That's it.
Okay. All right. Weaver says, since Drax, I haven't been able to take Batista seriously in any other movie. I have to admit, I kind of picture him that way too.
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. He's done some really good stuff, though. I mean, Blade Runner 2049, right off the top of my head.
Yeah. That movie is so... See, we got to start writing these things down because there's so many movies I would love to talk about. That one, no one ever talks about that movie, and God, is it good. I loved it, man. Also, I have it in 3D, so it's really fun to watch in 3D. But, yeah, I haven't watched Eternals. I also missed Shang-Chi in theaters, which really pisses me off now because I finally went back and watched it on Disney Plus about a month ago, and it was great. It was definitely an odd one, but it was really, really enjoyable.
It was odd. Honest, I don't know because of like what 25 movies or something like that. But after like the second time I watched it, I'm like, dude, Shang-Chi's kind of up there for me right now.
Yeah.
Like, it was funny. It was good. That whole scene at the end with the CGI dragon and stuff. Like,
Yep.
they just did that was such a good job with that movie.
Yeah, and it's weird. It's like having the dad be the villain is kind of like, well, that's interesting.
Right.
So that was, excuse me, that was something they haven't done. So, it was cool, and we've got, Doctor Strange 2 coming up, which I thought the first Doctor Strange was absolutely kick ass. Just as if for no other reason than the special effects. I mean, all that all that goofy stuff that they have in that movie, just visually is awesome.
I will say,
I'm not a fan of 3D, JT, but I insisted on seeing Doctor Strange in 3D.
Oh,
that was
you have
amazing.
To. You have to.
I gotta say, like Doctor Strange, that movie has never been like in my upper tier. Like, it's not bad. It's just it's not been my thing. But dude, I am so hyped to see that new one in May. Like,
yeah,
I cannot wait to see what the hell they do with this story now.
Yeah, I am really pumped up for that one. Thor: Love and Thunder. I don't know how I feel about the whole, what's Natalie Portman? What the hell's her character's name? Jane
Foster.
Jane Foster. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the whole thing where she's going to be the new Thor. I don't know how that's going to. I'm so used to Thor being Thor that this whole somebody else taking over the mantle thing. That plot point has always sat poorly with me whenever it's been done.
I get it.
So,
I read the comics, so like seeing Mighty Thor, who was a female, just like doesn't really bother me. But I do understand if you never read the comics that like it does seem weird. But
yeah.
I will say for Love and Thunder, the fact that Endgame left off with him being fat still and with the Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm like, that movie cannot start in any bad way whatsoever.
Look at Cam McLeish. Look at this term. He says, Love and Thunder could be interesting. Padme Thor Madala could be weird, but we'll see how it goes. Padme Thor Madala. Nice. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm wondering how they get to the point of, Jane Foster, is worthy. It's like, okay. How's that gonna work?
Yeah, because like even in the comic books, at one point Black Widow was deemed worthy and could move it too. So I mean, like, hopefully, like comic books have a never-ending wormhole of shit to dive down, and you can only do so much when it comes to the movies. So it's a matter of which wormhole do they really want to dive down.
Eventually, they
We
dry
will
up, and
reach
it's
a
like
point.
Rocket Raccoon is worthy.
Yeah, right.
If you're not even gonna try, I'm out of here.
Right. No, we will reach a point. Like the one thing that the MCU has done brilliantly is they've rolled it out in stages. So like they get weird a little bit every so often, but not too weird. And they roll it back in, and then they give you something else that's like out there. It started with like Earth-based heroes. Like a guy builds a suit of armor, and a guy gets injected with drugs that gives him superpowers, and that was like the start. And then like Guardians was kind of like the first real foray into like, will they accept something super weird? Let's find out. And then they introduced like the magical realm with Doctor Strange, and they've kind of built on that with Shang-Chi. And now we're going to get into like the really weird stuff where we've got like the ghosts and stuff coming in with like the Black Knight and Blade and all that sort of stuff. So now vampires are going to be a real thing. And so like if they had tried to like go straight to Doctor Strange after Iron Man, people would have just shat on that like right away.
Yeah.
But they keep like easing us into it along the
yeah,
way.
like that's part of the beauty of what they did with the MCU. Like I said a little bit ago, when it was like they went with those household names first. They went with all the people that everybody knew. Like you said earlier, like Iron Man was like
Not
a
really.
B-level character, but everybody knows who the hell Iron Man is. So like
I
when
was
they
going to say,
made
you
that,
talk about household names, but no X-Men, no Fantastic Four. Not
And they
had
stayed
to
away
work up
from
to the
the-
Avengers.
yeah, and they stayed away from the things that were already released back in the day. So they've stayed away to this point with X-Men and Fantastic Four, but it seems like those guys are all going to be introduced at some point here in the next phase or something like that. They've already teased the Fantastic Four, so maybe.
It's kind of brilliant, like, because they, through studio rights and everything, they couldn't use all these like top tier characters. They had to like build all these other ones instead. So now that they've already gone through and told all these stories with these characters that they built in-house, now they've got all their big names coming back in. And now, because like, where do you go from Endgame, right?
Right.
Well, you introduce all the characters that weren't there for all of that stuff. Like, that's how you do it. Like, okay, we did everything we could with the characters that we built, but have you heard of a guy called Wolverine?
Yeah, right.
Like,
Well, maybe they'll finally start getting those right on a consistent basis too. Because boy, have those outside of the MCU, like holy crap, have those movies been spotty?
Yeah.
And they have so many cool characters to pick from. Like I don't understand how they can get all this other stuff so right, and then some of this other stuff is like so freaking spotty. I'm like, what the heck? Like that's weird to me.
Sometimes it's all in the writing. Like, you think about the fact that all those DC movies all like were so bad. And then all of a sudden you get the guy that made the Guardians of the Galaxy movies to start making DC stuff. And then you get Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, and they're amazing. So
You thought Suicide Squad was amazing?
the one that James Gunn did, yeah, not the Will Smith original one.
yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say the Jared Leto Joker.
Yeah, not that one. That one was worth like 2 watches. Like you could have saw that in the theaters and maybe watched it one more time, and that was it. The new one that James Gunn did, it's basically Guardians of the Galaxy DC. Like the soundtrack is perfect. Everything just it's a remake of Guardians of the Galaxy with DC characters in it, and it's good.
Well, I might have to check
it's the
that
right
out then.
kind of self-aware too.
Okay.
Yep.
Like the fact that they literally, it's technically a sequel. Like they go through and they literally like kill off most of the rest of the Suicide Squad from the first Suicide Squad movie in the opening credits.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
that's why you can get like some rehashes, because they are the same characters from the previous movie. They just didn't die in the opening credits of this
Right.
one.
Yep.
Okay.
So I think they're
might
in
check
on
it
the
out.
joke. It
Yep.
works.
I just didn't like the whole. As soon as I saw the Jared Leto Joker, I was like, I'm not watching this. That is shit.
Well,
I'm not a fan of the DC movies anyway, because there's
Right.
there's 8,428 Batmans, and everything's got to be like the darkest shit ever, and I'm like, that's not what these comics are
Yeah.
about, man. And it's like, again, topic for another time. As soon as they rebooted Superman after Superman Returns, I was like, screw this. Like
Yep.
Superman Returns was absolutely kick ass, and the fact that they were just pissing on it, like, then I'm not going to give you any money for any of your other shit movies. Until I get Brandon Routh back in a series of in a series of Superman movies, you're not getting a damn nickel of mine, you pricks.
Dude,
Like,
I just
hell with
remember.
that.
I remember Gwen borrowed Spider-Man. What an asshole! Superman versus Batman. Borrowed it from somebody. We put it in the Blu-ray player. It got to the scene where the bats lifted Bruce Wayne out of the fucking well or whatever. I could not eject that damn thing out of the Blu-ray quicker fast enough. I almost threw the goddamn thing across the room. The only thing that stopped me is that I didn't own it. I was just like, no, we're not rescuing little Timmy from the well with the bats. Like, no,
Right.
this is not how this works. Okay,
So bad.
it really is. It really
so
is.
damn bad.
That's why I'm so surprised by the new Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. I'm just like, I can't stop watching the damn things, man.
Yeah, dude. Joseph Riney just said it. Peacemaker's amazing. Watch it. I know you've
So
been
good.
pimping it out, Steve. Like you said, it's great. Like, I'll definitely have to check
Dude,
that out.
You are doing yourself actually a service, John, because I think it's 8 episodes. I want to say this week will be number 6. So the fact that you can binge it will feel so much better, because every week I watch it on Thursday or Friday and I just get irritated that I have to wait a week for the next episode.
Yeah.
So you are certainly doing yourself a service by waiting to watch it all.
kind of like how we feel right now, being annoyed, waiting for next week and the final episode of the Book of Boba Fett, which will then culminate, or I should say, wrap up the season of the Book of Boba Fett, which we will then have a WTF Friday for on February 11th at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's called wrapping the show up.
Somebody ask why we're doing that.
Why are we doing that, Steve?
Because next week is actually Star Wars Podcast Day. Monday, February 7th is actually Star Wars Podcast Day. 23 years, 1999, the very first episode of Jedi Talk was released and was the very first Star Wars podcast. And 22 years later, somebody said, we're going to do Star Wars Podcast Day. We're going to get everybody we can together. We're going to release on the day or, around it in our case. And it's just going to honor the fact that it's another year of a bunch of us idiots getting together and talking about a galaxy far, far away. And there's a lot of us. I think last year they had like 83 podcasts, somewhere around there, and he broke that this year. I don't know by how many, but I know he has more podcasts this year than he did the first year. So that's why we are celebrating Star Wars Podcast Day.
In typical Nerf Herder Council fashion, podcast day is Monday, February 7th, and so we're like, yeah, cool. So we'll do a show on Friday, February 11th.
Well, late to the party as always. Yep.
He did say let try to release on Monday. He's like, if you can't, just do it that week and it's good. I think last year we actually hit the day. It happened to be or it was like one day late or something, but we were pretty damn close last year. So.
Yeah. But in any case, we are going to be doing a WTF Friday on February 11th at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to be doing our season recap of the Book of Boba Fett. And as I said in the intro, we may have a special guest host with us. So I have to confirm that. He or she may have other plans there. I'm not sure. But whatever else they're doing isn't going to be as cool as being on with the Nerf Herder Council. So that's all I got to say. So I gotta tell you, this is fun, man. It was interesting to talk about all this stuff. You guys had some good takes on the movies. You were wrong because you didn't pick the first Avenger, but hey, it's all good.
Well, I mean,
can't all
you
be
didn't
winners.
pick Iron Man.
John
so
loves
not
Nazis, I
everybody's
get it.
right.
Nice. Well, no, that was fun, man. So thanks.
See, the part that JT's not telling you, audience, is that he was actually cheering for Red Skull the whole movie. So
Hugo Weaving is great. I just kept waiting for the whole time to go, Mr. Anderson. Shit, wrong movie. Like, who the what? Yeah. See, Discuss Metal Joe's got it. WTF Friday is actually What the Force Friday. That's good. There you go. See, that's what we could do.
free
WTF
marketing,
stands for
love
What
it.
the Force.
We're taking it. You're not
Yeah,
getting credited.
Yeah, we're stealing your idea, Joe. we're gonna wipe this from the video too. But
Well, we're only going to use it once too. That way, we're not locked down to just doing purely Star Wars. Then.
yeah, exactly. So, well, anyways, guys, thanks for tuning into another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. We appreciate it. If you would like to catch video replays of the show, just go to our YouTube channel. If you would like to download the audio version of the podcast, just Google Nerf Herder Council. We are pretty much on every podcast platform that you can possibly think of. Again, we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. If you would like to get customizable Nerf Herder Council swag, go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. And don't forget, we are live every other Wednesday on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our next official show will be on Wednesday, February 16th at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But as we said, do not forget our WTF Friday on Friday, February 11th at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will be doing our season recap of the Book of Boba Fett. So with that having been said, I am your host, JT, at Dog Pound Jedi. He is AJ.
At Drake Adams 579.
He's Steve.
At Nerf Herder Steve.
And we will catch you next